Hello, namaste, and welcome to the Brand Narrative. And today we have another very interesting brand with us, that is the Cyboard School. And we have with us the director and principal of Cyboard School, Miss Supreet Kaur. Madam, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pragati. Thank you so much for having me here.
So, ma'am, we want to bring these stories and about the brand, how it got established, what is the need in the market, and how you have done, and all the grit and perseverance which has gone into it. So, all these stories we bring through the brand narrative. And today we would start this show with one first question, that is, what inspired you to start something like this?
Okay, so my journey has been little different than what people do in the education sector. So I primarily started my career with teaching, and I have been a teacher for the first 5 to 6 years of my whole experience. And then from teaching, I moved on in 2010 to education corporate. So my first corporate entry was actually Educom, which was a big name at that point of time and the only one at that point of time. So it was a dream come true for me to enter that place. But that was also a turning point for me because, I learned a lot about how to make education. So there are two different perspectives, how you teach and how you create is absolutely different. So if you can't be a creator, at some point of time, you will only be somebody who is picking up a book and, just teaching a lesson and coming out of it. So you have to be a creator to teach further in your life. And I worked in corporates till a very, very long time. And then the pandemic hit. And I was the last corporate by the time the pandemic hit I was with Pearson India. And I was taking care of my PTR program. It was one of the best loved programs, from curation of the content to going to schools. We were taking care of around 1,000 schools across India. And it was a huge number. We happily settled. There was nothing that would have told me to push out myself from Pearson. But I think, because I have been into schools and trainings, and we had such a huge capacity of 1,000 schools being trained from Delhi to Kanyakumari, nothing was left out. I could personally see such a huge gap that was there in the schools in terms of teachers being not even capacitated to understand how to go online when the COVID strike. So there were only two ways. One was to be comfortable in the corporate job, wherein you were having a handsome salary and a good life and keep on going. And the other way was to take this challenge. So Mr. Rajesh Singhal, Kunal Singhal, and me, we met and we just thought about this. In fact, they proposed this idea to me about the online schooling. And I said, I really need to think about it. It took me a month to really figure out the system and say that, yes, I wanted to be here or not. But I think the whole idea of saying that education is something that cannot stop. You can't stop it because it's rainy, because it's sunny, because today you have a procession outside or a dharna, or you have COVID now. And tomorrow, what it is, we don't know. We are living in that kind of a world today. So we wanted to ensure that all these years of experience that I've got from being into the space, I really wanted that to reach the multi-levels of different cities of our country, because we could really see the gap in what's happening from Delhi to Patna, to Mumbai, to Bangalore, to Punjab, Moga. We could see that kind of, biases that we had in our system unwantedly. So that was the only focal point at that point of time when we thought of bringing this education as an 100% online education on the board, that we don't want the education to stop because of any reason. Children should get the best of education sitting at any part of the country. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter whether they have a good school nearby or not. It doesn't matter where they can, spend that amount of money as a parent to put their child into an influential school where you have well-experienced teachers or not. What matters the most is that can the school walk up to you and say, I'm here, I can give you good quality education with best trained teachers right at your doorstep. Please just do not stop. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection. We are living in that kind of world. So that was a thought. Um, uh, and we just took the leap. We just took the leap. It was almost 7 months of preparation, work at the back end, sleepless nights for the team. But I think we are happy today with the way we are. 27 states and UTs is a big achievement that we have reached out. So I think we took a good decision.
Absolutely. You took a very good decision for the betterment of the education, for improvement of our students. And one thing which you precisely said was we how to create education. So there were so many hurdles, and I'm very sure after coming off online schooling, the students who are not able to afford to go to the bricks and mortar schools will be able to afford the online schools, because what you need is just a Wi-Fi connection. So, ma'am, because you've been interacting with a lot of parents and teachers, and I'm sure the students, and so what is that aha moment when your first parent came to you and said something beautiful? We would love to listen to that story.
Our parents reach back to us and say that, my child, when started with the schooling, we were scared. We were apprehensive that will this work out? Is it possible for somebody to communicate through the screen, learn through the screen? And at the end of the year, all these parents coming back to us and saying thank you, because if you wouldn't have been there, my child would have wasted his 1 year. you know and I think that nothing more leaves that happiness, and that can people coming from states where they said, ma'am, I wouldn't have thought of my child being taught off from a teacher who was an ex-DPS teacher or an ex-heritage school or a Kunskap school, and those big brand name, because I couldn't have thought of shelling that amount of money ever. And when I compared the kind of teaching happening by your teachers, and I compared it with the schools that they're doing outside, um, then that's an aha moment. So I think every time your parent or your children reach out to you and say, I couldn't read a single English sentence of my book, you know, that's a huge concern. Parents say that, or if you talk in general in public, people will tell you, oh, you can't, in an online school, you can't learn reading. What will you do with reading? What are you going to do about writing? And when these parents come back to us and say, child is reading fluently because you went ahead with special English reading programs, special Hindi reading programs, you ensured you had that, extra support. I think these all are aha moments. We also get criticism, we also get feedback, and I think I'm very open to the fact that feedbacks have to be taken, accepted, and worked upon.
So, I mean, I am so impressed by this one thing which you said, that some parents who are not able to afford the buildings like Kunskap School and GD Goenka, they are not able to afford the buildings actually. The teachers they may afford, but the buildings are not affordable. And for obvious reasons, we should not discuss that. But I feel that if the child is getting the quality education sitting at home, nothing can be greater than that. Uh, so, ma'am, how do you justify or optimize the screen time when it comes to the school? Because what the amount of time when children go to a physical school is at least 6 to 7 hours plus the commuting time. So, how do you justify this time if somebody is coming to Cyboard School?
So, I a couple of myths. So when we were sitting with our doctors, and when we had panel of people to see and understand if it's right for what we are doing with our children, I think we associate eyesight a lot with the screen, but there are a lot of genetic factors also that come in the meantime. But yes, we also wanted to ensure that we were not wanting children to get restricted to the screen for so many hours at a length. So for us, our classes begin at 9 a.m. in the morning. So the children don't have to rush in the morning, that get up and rush for the bars. Mama is running behind you with your glass of milk. I think that's something we have taken off completely. So the classes start at 9 a.m. in the morning. Post every class, we have a 15 to 20 minute break. Every class has a 15 to 20 minute break. We have a lunch break, which is again for 25 minutes. And then the school ends at, it's 1:50 for our grade 1, 2, and 3. It's 2:30 for our grade 4, 5, and 6. But during that, if you calculate the number of hours that the children are sitting, even in the breaks that they get, 40-minute class, 15 minutes break, another 40 minutes class, again another 50 minutes break. So what happens is they're only sitting in the screen for around 3.5 to 4 hours, that also in breaks. It is not continuous. We have a very well-laid AI. So the moment a class gets over, if a child does not leave the class, or if he has a different screen and a toggle open, our AI gives pop-ups to the teachers. So we have a very robust backend system in terms of, having support staff. We have picked up the calls. We have called up the parents. We have told them we do not want them to be playing games in those 15 or 20 minutes break. Can you take them away from the screen? Can you have your food? Can you have your water? Can you move around? So while we were very, very conscious of the fact that screen time is going to be a point of concern for parents, we also wanted to ensure, sitting with our specialists, with our eye specialists, our ophthalmologists, that, what should be done. And they said, all you need is some exercises to do with your eyes. All you need is breaks. You should not have your school running from 9 a.m. till 2 a.m. in the morning. One class goes, one comes. That was an advice given to us, and we have taken that very seriously. So whatever be, we have got this request from so many parents as well. They said, ma'am, 15 minutes break is so long. Please reduce it to 10 minutes so that they just have the time for water and come back. And we said, sorry, we won't do that. The reason is we want them for the muscles to relax for that 15 minutes and come back. So screen time is taken care of that. Also, at the same point of time, physical activity is going to be a big concern for children as they grow up. So our day starts with the physical activity. Our first period is called as a base group period. And that is all about just beginning the day with song, music. We dance to the tune. We really dance to the tune. The morning, I generally enter my classes most of the time, and my children and my teachers are dancing in the morning for the first 15 minutes. And you should see the happiness because for them, it's like beginning their day on positive affirmation, a positive note, and it stays with the kids for the whole day. And they do attend their classes very, very seriously. They have their own set of rules to attend their classes, and they do that. But I think it's more, every online school will have to understand this, going forward. You will have to structure your approach for the children. If you do not structure your approach, and if you forget, if you feel that, oh no, let me squeeze as much as I can in this much time so that I can have another session or another block of school working because that gets me more admission, that is a problem. Do not compromise on the fact that your children will need those breaks. Give them those breaks. It's fine to have longer hour for the staff. Staff is also getting those 15 minutes break in between, which is essential for any human being. You can't, as a teacher, I know, we used to be in one class. The bell used to ring. We used to pick up our books from that class and run to the other class. Within 2 minutes, we had to be there. It is mentally and physically exhausting for the teachers, and teachers are the torchbearers for our society. We can't take that away. So it's fine for them to take those 15 minutes break, refresh, come back, sit back on your seat, and then start.
So my next question will be, what is the class size which the school is taking? Because generally the attentions on per student is a very big question for the parents these days.
So we have a class size of 40 students, and on 40 students, we have 2 teachers. We work in a different fashion altogether. So we have our classes, which are divided into webinar and conference mode. When our children enter our classes, the first 2 to 3 minutes is settling down, wherein a child, teacher is going to let the child enter in the class. They're going to say, hi, hello, how are you? Let the day begin, share the learning objectives of what is going to be done in the class today. Post that, our class goes into a webinar mode, which means that our children are now on mute for the next complete 20 minutes. The reason is that we have, over the year, by being into the system, we understand if you want to have good classes online, your children should have certain set of structure and rules. So they know that this 20 minutes, our teacher is going to teach us a concept. So that teaching will happen through the course book, through the videos, audios, a lot of pop-up quizzes that we do, a lot of interactive games that we do in our class, all the aids that we can use to teach.
Perfect utilization
Post
of the
once
technology, I will say.
Absolutely, absolutely. Post that, the last 15 minutes of the class is when we open the forum to our children and say, now ask your questions. They have as many doubts as they want, they can ask the teacher. The teacher will ask a lot of questions to the children at this point of time to understand how much they have understood. So we have a very well laid and defined structure. We have 2 teachers in the class, over 40 children, all the classes
That's
from
20:1. I mean, that's like
primary.
the perfect ratio any school or any parent would demand.
Yes, so we are going there from pre-primary till grade 6. Ideally, that doesn't happen even in the any school. I don't remember giving 2 teachers after pre-primary. So that's a huge change in all the ways. But that's what is required for well-structured and settled classes, and that's how we are going.
Great. So I was in a doubt of the class structure and a little, but you explained it so meaningfully that how this works. So it was a lovely time with you and lovely knowing about Cyboard School. I hope the viewers also would love to know more about it, and they can just request a query. I will drop some links below where you can just directly approach the school as well. Thank you, Supreet ma'am. Thank you for your time, and thank you viewers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Pragati. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.